Hello, everyone. Welcome in on my sweet tea, and I'm really glad you're here. Let's take a moment to talk about what you're about to see. This is a challenge I set out to conquer, climbing the art ladder and working my way toward animation. It's been almost a year since I started, and I can feel how much I've improved. That said, I wanted to take a step back and recap my journey through the art I've created so far. What you're about to see is my personal character, someone I've been developing with a full backstory and growing lore. This video is my first attempt at drawing her completely from scratch, and it marks an important step in my progress. I hope you enjoy both the artwork and the story behind it. There's a lot more to come, and enjoy the video. Eliea was born on the metal world of Installatus, a place where the land itself could remember and reshape its form. She grew up in a warm and loving home, raised by her mother Petra and her father Brigand. Though the world they lived on was harsh and ever-changing, her early years were filled with comfort, laughter, and a sense of safety. That peace did not last. At the age of 5, tragedy struck without warning. A swarm of metal creatures surged from the depths of the labyrinth, tearing across the land and laying waste to everything in their path. Elia's home was destroyed in moments, reduced to ash and twisted steel. Her parents fought to protect her, but in the end, they were lost to the chaos. Eliea survived, but only because one final safeguard. Her family's guardian, a divine machine known as Dragoness. Activated in her parents' final moments, created long ago as both protector and caretaker, Dragoness was bound by a single purpose: to protect Eliea for as long as it existed. From that day forward, Eliea was never alone, but she was no longer a child. Dragoness raised her with unwavering discipline. She trained her in the art of survival, teaching her how to navigate the ever-shifting terrain of Installatus and how to defend herself against the creatures that lurk beyond the surface. She was taught to wield every weapon left behind from the Great War: blades, spears, mechanical armaments, each lesson harsher than the last. Dragoness did not train her out of cruelty, but out of necessity. She understood what the world demanded of those who wished to survive, and she prepared her for the day she might no longer be there. Over time, Eliea grew stronger, faster, sharper, more resilient. But beneath that strength was a quiet grief that never faded, the memory of her parents and the destruction of her home became the fire that drove her forward. When her training reached its peak, Eliea chose to step into a new chapter of her life. She enrolled in the Starless Academy, an institution dedicated to training gifted individuals to defend the world from chaos rising out of the labyrinth. While many students pursued the path of warriors, Eliea found herself drawn to something different. She became a mechanic and an engineer. There was something deeply fulfilling about creation, about taking broken parts and forging something new. In a world that had taken everything from her, building something with her own hands gave her purpose. Each invention, each repaired machine felt reclaiming a piece of what had been lost. Yet even as she built, her resolve never wavered. She made a promise to herself. One day, she would descend into the deepest parts of the labyrinth and put an end to the monsters that had taken everything from her. That day came sooner than expected. While exploring the upper layers of the labyrinth during a routine expedition, Eliea noticed something strange, a doorway where none had existed before. She was certain of it. She had passed through this area countless times, and yet now, there it stood, a silent, unmoving, and impossibly out of place. Drawn by both curiosity and instinct, she stepped inside. The room was cold and still, untouched by time. At its center lay a single figure, a corpse, ancient and unmoving, as though it had been waiting for centuries. The air itself felt heavy, charged with something unseen. Then she noticed it, a ring, faintly glowing, resting on the corpse's finger. Eliea hesitated only for a moment. An adventurer at heart, she reached out, removed the ring, and slipped it onto her own hand. In that instant, something stirred. Not in the room, not in the labyrinth, but within her. So yeah, that was a lot to take in. I hope it gave you more of a reason to love this character as much as I do. Because honestly, she's become a huge part of my journey as an artist. From the moment I started working on her, I knew she was going to be something special, but also something really challenging. And I think that's the part of why I've grown so attached to her over time. Looking ahead, I don't want this to just be a one-off drawing or a single idea. I want to take this adventure further. My goal is to turn this into a full-length story, something with real depth, lore, and meaning behind it. I want to build an entire universe around these characters, something that grows over time. As I keep going, I'll start introducing more characters, expanding the world, and really fleshing out the story piece by piece. And I want you to be a part of the process. I want to show not just the finished work, but everything that goes into it. The ideas, the struggles, the improvements, all of it. But for now, I wanted to slow things down a bit and talk about what I've actually learned from this experience. Because this piece, it pushed me more than I expected. One of the biggest challenges I ran into was drawing a character with her specific body shape. This was probably my longest attempt at a single character so far, and definitely one of the hardest. There's a lot of detail in her design, subtle shapes, proportions, and features that I just couldn't fully capture at the time. And that was frustrating, but also really important, because finishing this piece made something very clear to me. I still have a lot to learn, especially whenever it comes to hands and faces. Hands in particular have always been a struggle for me. They're small, but they carry so much expression and structure. And faces are where the character really comes to life. If something feels off there, the whole piece can feel off. So instead of jumping straight into another big project, I decided to step back. I went back to the basics. I spent time in my sketchbook, just drawing. No pressure, no expectations. I focused on my body structures, proportions, and really trying to understand how to build a body type like hers from the ground up. And honestly, that helped a lot more than I expected, because once you start to understand the structure, the way shapes connect, the way the body flows, it becomes the foundation for everything else. It's like unlocking the biggest building block in the process. After that, things started to feel a bit more natural. Not perfect, but better. And that's whenever I moved into what you're seeing on the screen now. This part represents the next step for me, taking what I learned and actually applying it, trying again, but with more understanding than I had before. And I think that's something really important when it comes to art, or really anything creative. You're not always going to get it right the first time. Sometimes you won't even get close. But every attempt teaches you something, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. This piece taught me patience. It taught me where my weaknesses are, and more importantly, it showed me where I can improve. And that's what I'm going to keep doing, improving step by step. So as we keep going, as this project grows, and this world starts to take shape, I hope you'll stick around and be a part of that journey with me, because this is only the beginning. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this adventure in art, don't forget to check out my finished pieces on Instagram and TikTok. I post all my completed work there. And if you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like, maybe leave me a little comment, and please subscribe. Also, remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. So keep creating, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.